out today, you were probably wondering, is that my kid's babysitter? Or my daughter's college roommate? According to AARP, in 2011, the first of 76 million baby boomers began to turn 65, which was once deemed retirement age. Now, at a rate of 8,000 a day until the year 2029, baby boomers will continue to reach 65. So what does that mean? As these boomers are reaching retirement age and leaving the workforce, guess who's coming in? Millennials. Millennials are those roughly 79.8 million young people who are currently roughly around ages 19 to 35. We're the fresh faces of the workplace. You probably know who we are, and you probably know how you feel about us. Hence why I'm here today. My hope is for you to better understand us so we can better work with you. Now trust me, I truly recognize the value that you older generations bring to the table. I am so glad I do not have to rely on my peers ages 35 and younger for all these tough life situations, so thank you. But exactly who are millennials compared to the other generations? How can you attract us, and how can you retain us? My hope today is that we can educate each other on these generational differences, bridge this generational gap to achieve great outcomes. One reason we struggle with insecurities and we want a stress-free work environment and we want things now is that we see that life could end at any moment. Besides personal adversity, national and international events shape us as well. In my survey, I asked people what one national or international event seemed to shape them, and almost every single millennial said 9/11. So because we're so connected, we see things happen so quickly, this makes it feel more personal, shaping how we think and how we act. Now, these events haven't only just shaped millennials, these events have shaped how all generations live. Let's look at air travel, for example. For millennials, we think nothing of going through security with TSA barefoot with our bag of 3-ounce bottles. For our parents' generation, they feared the plane might crash. For my generation, we fear someone might crash the plane. These events have shaped us. Okay, Gen Xers and baby boomers, how often do you think your generation walks into a public place and thinks about a possible shooting or bombing? For my generation, I'd venture to say we think about this daily. These events have shaped us. It sometimes only takes one event to shape a person. As I spoke about earlier, when I auditioned for the Glee project, I didn't have a story, so I didn't make the cut. Well, 2 years later, I got my story. Now, before this pivotal story happened to me, remember, I was living in a really, really nice bubble. I mean, I had the usual teenage and college angst, but I was doing all right. Well, on May 22nd, 2013, the bubble popped. In 10 minutes, I matured far beyond my 22 years of life. I had just graduated from Loyola University in New Orleans, and I was back at home in Texas, spending some time with my parents before I would go back to New Orleans and begin my life in the real world as a college graduate. My mother, who at the time was 51 and very healthy, we were walking the neighborhood. Everything was fine. Life was good. And then towards the end of the walk, my mom said she didn't feel well. She went across the street, she laid down on the grass, and instantly her eyes rolled into the back of her head. She started shaking, foaming at the mouth, and stopped breathing. My mother had gone into sudden cardiac death right in front of me. I picked up her phone, I called 911, and I flagged down some cars. For the next 10 minutes, 3 people alternated doing CPR. I was in shock at what had just happened. Moments before, everything was fine. Life was great. And instantly it all changed. Those 10 minutes were pivotal for me. They made me feel both horribly weak and incredibly strong. They shaped me into who I am today. And at the end of those 10 minutes, when the paramedics finally arrived, they were able to shock my mom back to life. My mom spent 8 days in the hospital where she was given a permanent defibrillator, and now she is doing fine. The doctors say she's a miracle, and I could not agree more. So, what I learned from this experience is, 1, life is precious. 2, people can mature instantly. It doesn't always require age. And 3, women in my family are hard to kill. In my survey, I asked millennials how important being affirmed was in the workplace, and 99% of millennials said they want to be affirmed. 99%. I know, we're all sitting here thinking, how can I hire that 1%? But as you see, your chances are about 1%, so listen closely.